the person that you would call if you needed to bury a body and they would bring the shovel.
How do we know when it's time to let go of a friendship?
Partner doesn't have to be.
This is controversial. I'm very curious where you fall on this. I think at this point for me the criteria is if I'm going to put the kind of time and effort that I usually put into a friendship at this point in my life, when I have children that are grown, that I'm 50 years old, whatever, it's going to be somebody who I want to come to the next chapter. I think I'm Michelle.
And I'm Lisa, and this is what happens before Boca.
Hey, Lise.
Hey, Michelle.
Oh, welcome to 15.
Welcome back.
What are we talking about today? This is probably one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, I'm so excited for today.
I know, me too.
I love being a friend, and I love my friends.
Me too. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about why having a female tribe in the Before Boca phase in midlife is super important. And also what that looks like. Is it different than your high school friends, your college friends? Just kind of what does it represent? And what do female friendships mean to us in this phase of life? So, I thought we could sort of start out talking on how do we decide if someone's really in the tribe? How do we know what we're looking for in a friend at this phase of life? And it might be different than what it was back in the day.
Right. So I think friendship, it's so interesting because I think I hold on to my friends forever. When we were away, we were just talking about this because we were talking about, it was Passover and we were missing the Seder. And I was explaining to my boys, this sense of community. And while you may not be drawn to a religion, you are drawn to a community. So growing up, I grew up in Paramus, and our life revolved around the temple, the JCCP, Jewish Community Center of Paramus. And my parents, had moved from the Bronx to Paramus, and they joined the temple, and all their friends they made at the temple. We went to Hebrew school 3 days a week.
Same. I had a very similar experience in Springfield.
I told the boys, I was a cheerleader at the temple. We had a basketball team. They were like, you were a cheerleader at the temple? Dribble it, pass it, drop it in the basket. Just our life revolved around that community, and that's how we made our friends. And I think what's changed over time is that, we have when we become moms, we have our playgroup friends. When we become, when our kids go to school, they have their school friends. And so a lot of our friends now developed through these little aspects of our life. I think that what it means to have friends changes over time. What it means to have friends when you have kids, what it means to have friends when they go to school, what it means to have friends when, you have your hobbies. I think that friendships at different times mean so many different things.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think at this point for me, the criteria is if I'm going to put the kind of time and effort that I usually put into a friendship at this point in my life, when I have children that are grown, that I'm, 50 years old, whatever, it's going to be somebody who I want to come to the next chapter and the next chapter. The person who I want to be at your kids' weddings, the person who I think, we're going to, sadly watch all of our parents age and pass, the phase where, we're going to retire and you're going to be in my life. That's the criteria for me. I don't want to put time and effort into friendships where I don't see these people coming to the next chapter. But, and we'll get to this a little bit later, I am also a big believer in different friends for different reasons.
Yes.
And at different times in your life, at different parts of your life, you may need different kinds of friends. I always think about when I went to graduate school, I had a couple really good friends that made going through graduate school so much more tolerable and better. And even though I don't see them now or hear from them, maybe we're friends on Facebook or whatever, and I totally wish them well, at that time and place, they were very significant to me.
Yeah. Same with law school. I definitely had my law school friends. And while I don't talk to all of them now, friends on Facebook and, similar experience, I think that's the thing about friendship. It's okay to have friends that are part of your life for a specific time in your life. And maybe they won't travel through to other parts of your life, but those are still friendships and they're still significant. I do think that, maybe you have a friend, you said that, we only have a certain amount of time to put into our friendships. But I like the idea of having a friend that, you know, maybe you have a hobby in common with, and, or, you know, maybe you watch a show that you know that they watch, and you talk about that one aspect. And I think it's okay for friends to come in and out of your lives when those hobbies or interests change, and they're still your friends. They're just not like what you said, like the friends that you're taking on this, your like long-term journey with.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about all the different kinds of friendships, because we read a really great book that I think illustrates that really well. But let's talk about like, how do we keep our friends close? Like, I think we're both pretty good at having intimate friendships with our friends and keeping them close and making them a priority. So I was just curious, like, how do you do that? How do you, like, you're a very busy person. Like, how do you make time for friends? You have 4 kids, like, lots going on.
I think just because I like I said in the beginning, I love being a friend and I love having friends. I think that it has always been a priority for me to keep in touch with friends, to touch base with friends, and not as like a checkoff list, just because I truly am wondering like how they are. I have this like thing. I think that this whole idea of like the digital world that we live in, it's really easy to send, you know, a friend a text and say, hi, how are you? I'm thinking of you. And then when I do that, I'm like, oh, I should have really called. But I think it's okay to do that because we don't have like all the time in our lives, because like you said, we're busy with so many other things. We have to like come to terms with this like whole digital friendship.
And I agree.
And feel that we are still being impacted when a friend reaches out that way, and also make an impact. So that is something like I grapple with, because I always want to take the time to like actually sit and do things, but then you feel like you're overscheduled.
Yeah. And I think I don't want to just get on that quick phone call when I know I'm just driving 5 minutes, I'm going to have to get off. But I think that texting is a great way to let someone know you're thinking about them. And it's not enough.
Right.
But it's like an entry level way to just say, hey, I'm thinking of you, or hey, let's make a plan. Right. Like, it serves its purpose. And I think it does help maintain things when you don't have as much time to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Because I am a big phone person. Like, I have certain friends that I will spend hours on the phone with that are good at talking on the phone. There are some people who just like don't like to do that, don't have the time for it. They'd rather meet you in person. Like, they'd rather sit face to face. So, you know, I think it kind of depends. I think what makes me be able to do it is I have good time management skills. And I think that is helpful in being a good friend when you're a busy person, because I think I try to utilize my time. Like, I'll think, oh, okay, I'm taking a half-hour drive somewhere. That's a good time to call so-and-so back.
Right.
Because I know we wanted to touch base on whatever. So I do think that is helpful. I think when someone's like disorganized and they have a hard time like managing their time, it gets away from them. They don't respond to a text. They don't, you know, call you back right away. And that can be, I think, frustrating when you're trying to like have a healthy connection with a friend.
I think also like in this midlife phase, it's, I'm definitely trying to like gain a better understanding of like what other people are going through. And it's not just about me. So if somebody doesn't get back to me, or if somebody, you know, takes a few days, I'm really trying not to take that personally. And I'm hoping that somebody will give me the same grace. I do think that like a friendship that lags for too long is not good. So I think that...
What do you mean lags?
Like if you lose touch with a friend for too long, sometimes you could just pick up where you were. But if you're really trying to invest in a friend, I think you need that a little bit more of like constant communication.
Well, I think there's like, I call them like macro friends and micro friends. Like the micro friends are going to know the nitty gritty. Like, I had a stomach ache, you know, and maybe even further than that, like what that stomach ache looked like, you know. And then you're going to have the macro friends that maybe just know the highbrow stuff. Yeah. Maybe they're just, you know, where's your kid going to college? And, you know, they're not the nitty gritty friends, and that's okay too. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's like you know, let's get rid of that friendship because we don't have time for the nitty gritty, or that person's not interested in the nitty gritty. Right. But I do think there's a big difference.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So how do we know when it's time to like let go of a friendship? because this is like something I think in this phase of life, it's like a shedding, I think. And so we're trying to let go of habits that don't serve us. We're trying to let go of mindsets that don't serve us. We're trying to let go of, maybe relationships that don't serve us. And so I think it is an interesting phase to think about, like when it's time to let go of a friendship that doesn't serve you anymore, especially if it's been a long-term friendship.
Yes. So like I said in the beginning, I mean, for me, I hold on to my friends for a very long time. And so I think it's every once in a while, and it's rare, you come across a person that for some reason, they don't make your heart feel good and you don't make their heart feel good.
You don't feel good around them anymore, you mean?
You don't feel good around them. You don't appreciate the way that they are, the way that they treat you, the way that they're missing when you need them to be there. And I think that you just have to make a mature decision and say, like, this isn't working for me anymore, and it's likely not working for them. It's really hard, I think, to walk away from a long-term friendship. It's like a breakup. You mourn that friendship. You think about what you had during the time where things were great. And so it's like, like a little bit of grieving. But at the end of the day, if it's not serving you and it's not serving them, then it's time to walk away. And I think that many people don't know how to be friends. And you just have to accept that limitation.
Or it's that their version of friendship is different.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the thing. The friendship works when we both have the same definition of friends. Yes. It's like, think about a dating relationship. If your version of being in a committed relationship is like talking every day and doing sleepovers and meeting each other's family, and your partner's is like, oh, I'll see you once a week.
Yeah.
Like, forget holidays, no vacation. Like that wouldn't work because you don't have the same definition. So I do think the definition is important. And I think 100%. If you are not having the same definition as a friend, it becomes rocky very quickly.
And I think for me, I know when it's time to walk away from a friendship, when sitting down and discussing something that's maybe bothering you or bothering them, you just don't want to do it anymore. You're like, there's no end game here. Like, we could sit down 100 times and we'll walk away and we'll still have the same distance in our lives and the same, lack of what the qualities are that you really want in a friend. And once that time comes, I think you just have to accept that that's the end.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I think when I think about my own friendship landscape, some friends are friends through a group of friends. And when we're all together, those friendships are thriving and there's so much history there that you don't need the everyday calls and texts and whatever. But then there's other friends that you might have the expectation of, like, if we don't make the personal effort, it's not going to get there.
Right.
And I think when I feel like I'm prioritizing something and you're not, that's for me when it's time to let something go. Like, I'm making an effort and I'm trying. And, I had a friend from growing up who, we had a very, very close group of friends, and I was bridesmaid in her wedding. And then it came time for my wedding and she didn't show up.
Didn't show up to your wedding?
Didn't show up to my wedding.
Wait, she was
didn't show up.
A no-show.
She was a no-show.
Wow.
And she claimed that her mom was sick and in the hospital, but we later found out that was not true. And that was the end. It was, I'm sure, more complicated than that in her perspective. But, it was hard. Like, this was a best friend from childhood through weddings. Like, if I was a bridesmaid in her wedding, I'd have to think she still considered me a good friend.
Right.
And then when I came home from my honeymoon and she kind of left like a broken up message, like never really tried to reach out to me again. Like, all my other friends were like, where is she? Like, it was weird. And it was hurtful. But I said to myself at the time, like, if that's how she's able to sort of participate now, like, what's it going to be like when we don't live in the same town and we don't see each other all the time? Like, this might not be a friend that I can kind of take with me. Yeah. So, I mean, that is probably one of like a handful of friends that I could say I've parted ways with over the years. Okay, so we also read a really incredible book called The Life Council by Laura Tremaine, and the whole book is about friendship, and she has great philosophies from her own experiences, but she also really does a good job breaking down what she calls her friendship council and the different roles that different friends play in your life.
Right.
And so she categorizes them, and before we go through each category, I thought it would be great to just like pull the insights we thought from the book that were powerful.
Right. She sort of looks at friendship as like a landscape. So each of these categories falls within that landscape of your life. And she talks about how friendship is work. It's emotional labor, and it's about being there when you hit a rough patch. It's not all margaritas and chips and salsa.
No, it's not. And like part of being a good friend is showing up for your friends when they are going through the hard times, the moments they get sick, their parents get sick, they go through a divorce, they lose a job. You know, those are the hard parts of friendship, and how you show up for people, not only when it's like a wedding or a bar mitzvah, but how you show up for people when they're really struggling is a big part of friendship. And, you know, I think that's a big part of what makes somebody a good friend.
Right. And especially in this like midlife time, I feel like, you know, we are the sandwich generation. So our kids are getting older, our parents are getting older, and it feels like there are hardships now. And the way that friends show up for you can really impact how you go through those parts of life.
Yeah, totally. The second one was giving good friends the benefit of the doubt.
I love this one.
I love this because I talk a lot about this when it comes to couples work. And the same thing applies when we are talking about friendship, because we've known certain friends for decades. And so when they miss a birthday, when they miss asking you about your job interview, when they, you know, don't respond to you in the exact way that you want, can you give them the benefit of the doubt? I think that is so important.
It's so important. We all have so much going on in our lives, and I think that you know the difference between a friend who really does have good intentions at heart and they might just have a little slip up, and those that don't. So giving the benefit of the doubt is just your way of giving somebody grace, which you would want them to do for you as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
The next one was don't keep score.
Never keep score.
Yeah.
Life is not about that, and friendships shouldn't be about that. There are going to be times when friends need you more and when you need friends more. And if you go back and you're sort of like, well, I did this and I did that and you didn't do this and you didn't do that, then that's going to be a shit friendship.
I agree. Yeah. I think keeping score, don't keep score in your marriage, don't keep score in your friendships. I think that we all have different capacity, and understanding that we all have different capacity is very helpful when it comes to friendship. Like certain friends are going to be better at hosting. Certain friends are going to be better at planning. Certain friends are going to be better at remembering the little things. Certain friends are going to be better at, you know, giving advice.
You sort of just described her counsel.
So yeah, I mean, I think not keeping score.
Right. The next thing she said is just go. And we talk about this all the time. Like sometimes you're just so tired at the end of the day, or you just don't feel like it. Just put on your boots and put on a little lip gloss and just go. Because I think that showing up is so important. And also at the end of the day, when you lay your head down on that pillow, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I went.
Yeah, I think most of the time, unless there's something major happening, we don't regret going. We regret not going.
Yes.
And I think, you know, when our friends need us, when they want to celebrate something, when they're just in the mood to get out of the house and they need that, it's like so nice to have friends that are like, sure, let's do it, you know? So love that one.
And she also said, your partner is not your BFF. Your partner doesn't have to be.
This is controversial.
It is controversial.
I'm very curious, like where you fall on this.
So it's funny because when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like Gary is my everything. Like he's my best friend. He's, you know, we've been together for 30 years. But then I was like, wait a second. There is so many things that I tell my best friend that I don't talk to Gary about because he's just not capable of having certain discussions. There is a difference between a male and a female, and there are discussions that you want to have where you are looking for advice or a certain reaction that your spouse just isn't able to give. And that's okay. They're still your life partner. It's just that they don't have to have like intuition and the ability to discuss things like a female friend or even another male friend for that matter.
I could not agree more. I think a lot of marriages suffer when people expect their partner to be everything to them. And you're putting too much pressure on one person to be too many things.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. It's unrealistic. I think we can have a friendship with our partner, but that doesn't mean they're going to be our everything. They may not be the best advice giver. They might not, always know how to listen or respond or, whatever it is, but they serve obviously a major role in your life. It's not diminishing the role of your partner, but it's acknowledging like your partner's not your mother, your partner's not your sister.
Right.
Your partner also doesn't have to be your best friend. And I think that role, or your friend in general, that role can be reserved for different people. And I think not putting all your eggs in one basket, expecting one person to be everything is important.
Right. And I thought it was like kind of telling that she didn't include your partner as one of the categories in your life counsel. And that doesn't mean that it's not disrespecting that relationship. It's just acknowledging that that relationship falls into like, it's not part of your counsel. It's like a part of your like core being, but it's unfair to put the expectations on your partner to satisfy things you need that they're not capable of.
Right. Like the whole concept of it takes a village. Like I think it takes a village to be a human being.
Yeah.
And like, so why just have one person that you're depending on for everything? Like have that village.
Right. So let's get into the counsel because I like
this is very interesting.
This is very interesting, and these categories were like exciting to me. So the first counsel was the daily duty, the friend you see all the time and you are doing daily life things with.
Right. Like I call this like the micro friends, like the friends that know the nitty gritty, the like all the little details, like you didn't feel well last night, what you had for dinner, who annoyed you this morning. You may talk to this person 2-3 times a day.
Right.
You are doing the daily with them. They know the nitty gritty.
Yep.
Those are really important friends.
Very important.
And I think sometimes they could shift based on where you are in life. Other times it might be a consistent person, but I think about like your dailies.
Yep. Go ahead. You want to do this?
The second one was the old friends. So these are the friends that you've known historically that have come from chapter to chapter with you. They're the ones that hold your memories, that ground you. Very important category for me.
So important and very timely, this conversation, because just yesterday, so our Gary and we have like a unique high school friendship in that all of our best friends from high school married each other. So
crazy to me.
Cuckoo. Yeah. I married Gary, Adam and Allison got married, Adam and Risa got married, and Liza and Ben got married. And we are still all best friends today. So Adam, who gave me my first Valentine in kindergarten, so cool. His mom, Ellen, passed away while we were away, and the funeral is coming up tomorrow. So yesterday, they came in, they live in Florida, and we ran just to give them like a quick hug because funerals are so busy and you sometimes don't have time to chat. And just like walking in, it was the first time that they've seen Gary since his heart attack, and we've seen him in person. And just like the embrace, like no words were needed. It was just like an embrace. Like Adam and Gary are both bald. They both gave each other like a kiss on the head.
Aww,
and it was just like, those are the friends that have been with you in so many different aspects of your life that they're just naturally going to have like a different view of who you were at different times and, like your life trajectory, like your journey. It's really special friendships.
Yeah. The old friends to me, my high school friends, my college friends, it's like when you're with those people, they just know you from a different part of your life and your journey and in a different way. And I think it's very refreshing to be around those people where like that old version of you can come out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I see it with my husband's friends too. Like he's a great group of friends from high school. And when they're together, they might as well be in high school. And, they brought their wives together. They're the people we can vacation with. And it's a very unique, special connection to have friends that just know you from way back when. They know your embarrassing stories. They know all your growth stories, like your first this, your first that, like they just know it all.
They know it all.
I love that.
They know it all.
The next category is the work friend.
I love this one. Work friends are like invaluable. They might not, you might not continue on with a lot of those friendships, but if you bump into somebody or talk to somebody or send a message on Facebook, there's always like a funny story, a funny time that you can remember that you experienced with them. And it's very unique.
I really love this category because I think you spend a majority of your day at work. And that's one of the hard parts about being a therapist is like I'm kind of lonely in terms of the work friend category.
You're my work friend.
I know, but now you and I could be work friends. But I do like, when you work at an office, those people that you can come in, they become like the main characters of your life.
You're talking about, you know, not only are you catching up on like your weekend or whatever, but just like the intricate details of the day that nobody else can understand unless you work there.
Yeah. So work friends, very important.
Very important.
What's next?
The next one is the fellow obsessive. I love this one too. It's somebody who is obsessed with the same thing as you, whether it's a hobby like mahjong, TV, sports team, you have a shared passion. And this friend is unique in that you might not speak to them on the daily, you might not even speak to them weekly or monthly, but you have something that you share that you just check in with, whether it's through, you know, like text or whatever, saying, oh, did you watch the show or did you see the latest Bachelorette? And it's a connection that it like stays in its lane. You know what I mean?
Totally. For me, that's like, and for you, it might be the barn friends. For me, it's the hockey friends, right? It's like not our obsession, it's our kids' obsession, but through that obsession, we're brought together with people that we might not have met. They're from different towns, different areas. And you just have this bond over like sitting in a cold ice rink, sitting at a horse show. You know, you're spending a ton of time with these people and they become important and they start to know you in little ways. Like one of my hockey mom friends sent me this funny TikTok this morning of someone with a mozzarella stick tattoo and like you open the arm and like the cheese and, you know, she knows I love mozzarella sticks that I'm eating at the bar. So, you know, I think those friends too, like play such an important role in your life, whether you're both obsessed with the same sports team or you're both obsessed with the same show. You don't have to have all these other categories.
Right.
Like there are other things that can bring you together.
Right. It's bonding. It feels good in the moment. And it's different from, it's a unique friendship. Like all these friendships in these 11 or so categories are unique. They're very individualized. And I like it because it doesn't put pressure on you to be like, that barn friend doesn't have to know your entire life.
Right. It doesn't
story.
have to be one size fits all. There's not one definition of friendship. That's what I think was so cool about this concept.
The next one I also love, it's the battle buddy. It's someone who has shared like a really difficult time in your life. And you went through something hard with them. For me, that's my battle buddies are when Jake was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Immediately new friends who had kids that were diagnosed, and those people like became like such a resource and a source of comfort and had like such an individualized sense of opinion and viewpoint that it was impossible to get from other friends.
Yeah, for me, it was when my dad died. Like I actually had a couple guy friends in high school, which is unique, who also lost their dads at around similar times. And those connections were important because I didn't have anyone else in my life who really had lost a parent at that age. So I think when you go through something like that, you just form this weird bond. It's like a trauma bond. But you know, it's important nonetheless. And there can certainly be a deep connection when you're going through something that no one else, like the rest of your council, even though they're there for you and they're showing up for you, they don't understand.
Yes, they don't understand.
So the next one is a very important one. It's the yes friend. It's the fun friend, the life of the party, the adventurous one, the enthusiastic one who doesn't like conflict.
It's a fun friend.
This is a fun friend, and everyone should have one of these friends, at least one.
It's somebody who will just pick up, spur of the moment, let's go see a show, let's go see a band, let's go to the movies, let's go here. And it's like, it's light, it's easy. There's like not a lot of heaviness around it.
Yeah. A great friend to have. Everyone should have that.
The next one we kind of questioned a little bit, both for like different reasons, but it's called the mentor, the advice giver. They guide us. They direct us in our path. And like, I think the word mentor, like
threw us.
It caught us off guard because I don't really look at it like I had a mentor, an attorney at work who was like my mentor at work. And that in it is like just like a very formal sense. Like I would say like my friend Vicky, who lives in my neighborhood and has Leo and Xavier, the two young boys, I like look at myself as like her big sister almost, having been through life with 4 boys. But I don't consider myself like a mentor towards her.
Yeah, to me, it could have been renamed, but the concept was something I can definitely relate to, which is like having those friends that you rely on their advice. You rely on their opinion. These are the friends you'd go to when you were sort of struggling with something and you wanted guidance, right? That might not be the same as the yes friend. It might not be the same as an old friend. It's somebody who, when you are struggling and you want counsel, you go to this person.
You go to that person.
Yeah. The next one was the password protector. This is the person who would burn your private journals if something happened, holds the key to your house, knows the combination to your safe, like the person that you trust to like take care of shit when shit goes down.
This is like the vault. When things are vaulted, you just know, like, yeah, we all like gossip about like this and that or whatever. This is like no holds barred. Like there is no gossip. There's no room for error. It's like the person that you would call if you needed to bury a body and they would bring the shovel.
Yeah, totally. I like that one, bury the body. Because I think that there are certain friends that you sort of trust with the big things. And yes, your passwords is sort of, like a metaphor, but like there are friends that you just trust with those big things that you might not share with everybody for different reasons.
Yeah, very important. The next one is the empty chair. And this one, it was soul searching for me. It's the friendships that end and the pain of a friendship ending. And I think that the empty chair, those people always have like they played a part in your life. They'll always have that part in your life. They're like a piece of your heart somewhere. They're just not like front and center anymore. And it's like those friendships that are painful because you have to mourn and grieve and let them go. But it was served a time in your life and now they don't.
Totally. Like even the friend I talked about earlier, like when I look back at my childhood, she was such like main stage. We went to camp together. We had our first jobs together. Like she was a main stage friend and I adored that connection with her. So she's not gone from my history because we are no longer friends. And I think there's other friends too that may have just dissolved, camp friends, people who came into your life at different points for different reasons. And like we only have a certain amount of time and energy. And so, having to let those people go, but know that they hold a place in your heart, I think is important.
And the next one is the new friend. It's like the thrill of early love. It's fun to discover the spark of connection. And I liked this one because of this midlife phase that we're in. Like it is scary to try to like reach out to somebody and be like, do you want to be my friend? And it could be in like asking them to go for coffee or, like just like go for a walk. And it is scary because like you're vulnerable. You're like, are they going to like me back?
Well, right. I think it's a time in our lives where so many other times we made friends. It's like you make friends in high school because you all go to the same school. You make friends in college. We all live in the same dorm. You come to town, you're all in the same town. It's like something that bonds you. But in midlife, depending on where you go, you may be moving to a new place or you may stay, here. People may move. You have an opportunity to possibly open up the vault and let some new people in. And so I do think it's interesting. And those people might, again, serve a completely different role in your life that you didn't even expect.
And it's like exciting. I mean, I think that connections are easier to form when like it sits under this umbrella. So all those things that you described before, like, playgroup friends and mommy friends and, this friend and that friend, they're like, they sit under these umbrellas. And I think sometimes like you just have to like open your umbrella wider and be like willing to take a risk.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there's always like room for somebody new in your life. I mean, how much energy you might put towards something or take away from something else, like it might depend. But I think what, helps is when you're an organized person. I think like being organized with your time allows you to prioritize each of these categories in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you might not have time in your life, like, at this stage in midlife, we always think like, okay, well, I've established, like my friends, like the friends, like you always talk about, like who are going forward with you to like, your next stage and your next chapter and chapter after, and you know they're going to be with you forever. Some friendships are like just for like little pieces here and there, and that's okay. Like it doesn't always have to be this like grand best friend thing. You know, we all have our best friends, or, you know, looking for our best friends. Like we're looking for different things. So these are like the little touches that kind of, you know, like you just enjoy something about somebody.
Yeah. And I certainly talk to women in my practice that have yet to meet that person, who are still even in their 40s and 50s looking for that connection with someone that they haven't experienced yet. And so I say, be open. You could meet that best friend when you're 70, 80. Right. Like you don't know, you know,
keep looking
and keep being open, because I think you never know when that special person sort of comes into your life, and, you know, you make room, make space.
Yep.
The last one is the soul sister, right? This is the person who has a seat at the table forever. You have a spiritual connection. They know you so well. They can complete your sentences. And I think if you're lucky to have a handful of those women throughout your life, one, you know, a few, I feel blessed to feel like I have a few, certainly. You know, that's the person that sees things the same way that you do, always is validating your opinion or being very truthful and honest with you when you're off, you're wrong, when they think you're wrong. It's just someone who like you trust with every aspect of yourself.
It's like you almost have a hard time defining this one. You just know it because they're there. Like there's no words that actually like capture their meaning to you and your meaning to them and your meaning to each other. It's like their being. They're like such a part of you. It's
and I love, and you know, you and I had this conversation off camera before about like telling your friends when they, you know, are important to you and they're special to you. Like, say it to them. You know, I just think that that's so cool. And
okay, so I was listening to the author. She did like a quick little interview with a podcaster, and what she was saying is like a good way to think about this counsel is to sit down, and I was kind of doing it in my mind as we were talking about it, is take your friends and put them into these categories, and maybe like journal just like a few lines of why they fit into this category and what you appreciate about them, and maybe even share it with a friend, because I think sometimes like we wait or we don't do it all to tell our friends like why they're so important to us. And I would like to hear that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think, you know, I think birthdays sometimes are, you know, a great way to share with your friends how you feel about them. But like sometimes it's just, you know, when someone does something for you that feels meaningful or feels important, has an important conversation, takes the time to think of you, takes the time to acknowledge you, takes the time to remember something little that you told them, like acknowledge that, because I think it's important. So what are we into and what are we over this week, my friend?
All right. So can I have like a few extra intos?
You can have many.
Well, I already talked about the Duolingo, so I don't have to talk about that. But one thing that I'm into, and I talked about this with my oldest son who we were visiting in Spain, is his suggestion, and it makes like perfect sense. And I think I tried to do this anyway, but like when I actually like thought it out, it's following something negative with something positive. And it doesn't have to be like this like grand, like, you know, message. It's just like, if you have something negative to say, I'm sure that there's also something positive to say. So that like your food wasn't great, you could say like, but I really enjoyed like the service or the ambiance or whatever. It like leads away from negativity, so you could still get your message across without being like so offensive.
I call that a compliment sandwich.
Yeah.
It's like compliment, criticism, compliment.
Yeah. Let's do more compliment sandwiches. The next thing I'm into, oh my God, I feel like I'm sitting on a gold mine. It's called, I watched it on the plane. It's a documentary called The Power of Pickleball.
Ooh, you didn't tell me about this.
Oh my God. It is so good. It'll be like...
It's on what channel?
I think it's on Hulu. You know, on the plane, it was just like a choice on the screen, but I think I looked it up to tell my son to watch, and I think it's on Hulu. It is the documentary of pickleball, like where it started back in the 60s in a little island off of Seattle where people used to go for like summer vacation, and their kids were bored, and they had this old badminton court in their backyard. And so these three dads like invented the game of pickleball, and it started out like, you know, hitting the ball over the net, and then they made these the rackets, and this racket wasn't good, so they made this other racket. They tried all these different types of balls until they came to like really like the wiffle ball that one of their kids had gotten for their birthday. And so it evolved from that. The dog was like named Pickles, or was it really after the dog? Like it was just...
What year was this?
I think it was like 1968.
Oh, so it's been around for a while.
It's been around for a while, and it goes through the whole evolution of it, like how they made this kit to sell. And, fast forward, they started getting like professional pickleball players involved, and then there started to be sponsorships. And fast forward where we are today, where there's like a pickleball channel that films all these pickleball tournaments.
Wowzers.
US Open of Pickleball,
cool.
Hall of Fame of Pickleball. Don't miss it. It's amazing.
Good one. Adding it to the list.
Add to the list.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I'm into, the astronauts just went up on Artemis, and I saw one of the astronauts posted a really sweet picture. He's a single dad. He lost his wife to cancer, and he's raising 2 girls. And they look like they're like, maybe like 18, 20 kind of year-old range. And he sent a picture of the inside of his bag. One of his daughters had made chocolate chip cookies for him because they're his favorite, and put like a little love note in for her dad. And I just felt like, oh my God, that is beautiful.
So beautiful. I hope they're okay.
That was I'm into.
Yeah, I like those.
How about you?
What are you over?
Oh, you want to hear my overs? Okay, sorry. And I can't find anything positive to add to this negative, so I'm not practicing what I preach.
That's the point, is to be over it.
This also happened typing into a television over vacation, your email address to log in. Please, we could like send these people to the moon, but we can't figure out an easier way than going like A, B, C.
Oh my God. And my work email address is so long. It's like Michelle at womenswellnessbergenco.org. Why would I have created
Why?
that email? But it is so annoying when I have to type that in.
Do better. And the other thing that I'm really over, another travel related point, is people lining up earlier than their group being called.
I just talked about this on our flight home with the guy sitting next to me. He's like, why are all these people waiting in line when people are still getting off the plane? I'm like, I feel irate.
Oh,
I was irate about it.
I mean, so now, like, okay, you get, the whole process is like so messed up, because if they didn't charge people so much money to bring their suitcases, then they wouldn't have this problem where everybody wants to bring their carry-on bag with them. So I think people get online early because they're worried about the overhead space, but you can't go on before your group is called. And what happens is you're group 3, but now somebody behind you is group 1, and somebody behind them is group like 0. And now you have to say like, oh, excuse me, are you this group? And you have to like go around them. Oh my God.
It becomes like a whole class system too.
It's really gross.
I really don't like it. They need a better system. I totally concur with that. Over.
So anyway, how about you?
Okay. So because I was away also, my things are, I think, vacation related. So my first was that I'm very into friendly waiters. Like we had some really friendly waiters on vacation, and it just made the meal so much nicer. We actually had one guy who was from Ramsey.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which was awesome. And that brings me into my second into.
Ramsey is a town close to where we live.
Second into was meeting people on vacation that are from your area. Like I love that. Like we walked into a restaurant the first day, and Nate was wearing some hockey sweatshirt of a clinic that's around here, steel hockey. And the woman sitting at the table was like, oh my God, like my kids do steel. And they of course were from New City. And then I was like, oh, we're from Upper Saddle River. And then as I was saying that out loud, a whole other family walked in. They're like, we're from Upper Saddle River. Like,
so funny.
It's just like, granted we weren't in like Africa, but like, just
Delray is like Upper Saddle River.
Right. Even when we were in Italy last summer, there was one other person in the restaurant in our resort one night, and we just started talking to them. They were from Upper Saddle River, and they lived around the corner from us. Like,
so funny,
so weird. Like when you're just like in a different, it's so connecting. I love that.
The connections. Oh, I forgot to tell you this, or maybe I did tell you this, but when we were waiting for our flight, Silas, Tyler, and I, to go from Madrid to Mallorca, all of a sudden I see like Tyler like running across the airport towards somebody with like open arms, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It turned out it was one of their camp counselors.
Oh my God.
Works for Iberia. Paloma is her name. And she and Tyler like saw each other from like across the airport, and they were like, oh,
That's a lot.
like those
I love that. I love that.
Connections.
Yeah. Okay. The things I'm over. I'm over the hotel blanket when the comforter is in the middle and they use 2 top sheets.
Oh my God.
To secure it instead of a duvet.
It actually like gives me, I'm getting the creeps right now.
The whole night I spend trying to not have my chin touch the interior blanket.
Dirty.
Even though it was like a very nice hotel and I knew it was clean, I still felt ew.
You know they don't wash that.
I know. Gross. The second, and part of that is also, I don't like wet towels in a bathroom floor in a hotel. Like, I want them out immediately. There should be like a chute in the room where you just like shoot down your wet towels. I actually think I'm going to invent that because I really don't like the wet towels. There's nowhere to put them.
No.
The other is like I'm oversharing a hotel room with my children. Like we did it this time because it was just Nate, but like his socks are everywhere. He's like too big. To share a room.
They're
with.
people. They're
and then
men.
I'm like, it's not good. So I'm over that.
Good ones.
Good ones. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out our link tree. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us, share with your friends. We've got a lot of good episodes coming up.
All that stuff.